Okay, we want to solve the system of equations using row operations. Now, normally, if I got a system like this, I would go straight to my calculator and go into simultaneous equations, and we'll solve it that way, which we will check in a moment. We want to practice using this with numbers and not use our calculator, because obviously I can give you ones with letters in there, so we need to get this system down under control. So we have our three equations. This is what we call an augmented matrix form. So it just takes all the coefficients. So you can see A1 goes here, B1, B1, and so on. So just the coefficients that we're interested in, and your goal is to make it reduce to row echelon form, so we end up with our 0, 0, 0 over here. So if we take our example of our three equations here, we do a nice, right, so augmented matrix. So we've got 1, and then we go, instead of 3y, we just put the 3, and instead of minus 3z, we've got minus 3. I like to go dot, dot, dot. If you want to put the line, feel free. It's not a deal breaker. Okay, and then we've got the second one, which will be 2, 5, minus 4, 2. Then we've got 2, 4, 1, and 5. Now, remember, we refer to this as row 1, row 2, and row 3, and it's really important that you document, notate what it is that you're doing. Okay, so in order to make a 0 appear here, we're going to use row 1 and row 2, and we're going to say 2 lots of row 1 minus row 2, and I hope you realize that makes sense, because if I times this by 2, 2 take 2 ends up being 0. Now make sure you show your working somewhere. If we say over here we've got 2 row 1 take row 2, okay, I'm going to show my working underneath. So I've got 2, 6, minus 6, and 2, and then we write row 2, which is 2, 5, minus 4, and 2, just reading straight off what we've got here. 2 take 2 is 0, 6 take 5 is 1, minus 6 take, so be careful there, because it's really simple mathematics, but if you stuff it up, it's a pain to go back and find your error. And that's another reason why we write this stuff here, is that, you know, if you do check on our calculator in a minute and we've made a mistake, we need to go back and check our work. So if you don't have it anywhere handy, it's going to be quite difficult. All right, now we want to have a 0 here. So we're going to times row 1 by row 2 again, So we're going to say 2 row 1, but this time we're subtracting row 3. Okay, my tip is always use row 1, especially when you've got the coefficient there of 1. So that becomes 2, 6, minus 6, and 2, and we're now subtracting row 3, which is 2, 4, 1, 5. Right, 2 take 2 is 0, 6 take 4 is 2. Keep on going. All right, we've got 2 minus 7 minus 3. Let's hope you were playing along with this at home and you're ahead of me. Now we want to do, we keep row 1, it's all good. Okay, row 2 is also groovy because we've got our 0 where we want it. Okay, now we want a 0 here, which we've already got, and we want a 0 here. That means, that's a funny looking 0, we'll do that again. That means you can't use row 1 anymore, because if you go back to row 1 and you're going 1 take away this row, you're going 1 take 0, and you'll get a 1 there again. So row 1 no longer in the ballpark. We're going to be using row 2 and row 3. So we're going to say 2 row 2 minus row 3. So 2 row 2 becomes 0, 2, minus 4, and 0, and we're subtracting row 3, which is 0, 2, minus 7, and minus 3. 0 take 0 is the 0 that we wanted, yay. 2 take 2, 0, huzzah. Minus 4 take 7, so again that becomes plus 7, so it's a 3, and 0 take 3, we get a 3 again. So this becomes 3 and 3. Now, what this means, I think we should have a color change just to make this apparent. What this means is here, this is now, it's 3z equals 3. So therefore z has to be 1. I now come back to row 2, and this is saying 1y, so we've got y, take 2z, but z is 1, so minus 2 equals 0. Therefore, y equals 2. And now if we go back to the original, I've got an x plus 3y, but y is 2, so it's plus 6. Take 3z, and remember z was 1 that we wanted. Okay, so if you got neat working out, you'll be able to fix that up. Okay, hope that helps. Let's do one in a minute with letters.